Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Dominic Brightmon. He is a certified trainer, a best-selling author, and he is the host of the Going North podcast. Welcome to the show, Dom.
Woohoo! Thank you, AJ. Pleasure to be here with you, my man.
You are welcome to the show, Dom. You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to discuss. We'll be talking about the power of the written word. So, Dom, my first question to you is to understand, why books? Why you focus on authors? You could be doing anything else, but why just on books? I want to understand that for the audience.
Solid question. Well, the good news is books are one of the greatest tools on earth that we have. Like ever since the printing press was made after the good old ancient scrolls were finally transitioned out to them, books were able to really put their thoughts, put information onto pages. And now we're in the age where not only folks can put pen to paper and then their ways fingers to keys on the keyboard and put books out there for folks to read and to carry books around them, it's one heck of a great tool to have because they're wonderful packages that can either educate you or entertain you in either way that you would like. If you want to advance in life further, or if you just want to have a place to really relax a bit. And I'm all about books and people because books and people is the reason why I'm here today because I've read some great books from great authors that have helped me to change my life for the better. And people are behind books because hey, without people there are no books, and without people there be no books. Without books there wouldn't be as many educated people on the earth today. So that's really why I'm all about books, because books are phenomenal and people are behind books and people are freaking awesome.
Right, right, Dom. So, when did you realize this power of the book? Obviously, when we are early, not everyone likes to read, to study. They feel that, it's better to play rather than study. So, obviously, only few people are able to understand that sort of understanding of books at an early age. Only later on you realize what these books are all about. So, I just want to understand, when did you realize the importance of books and then move towards, towards doing now more than 700 podcasts, 700 authors you have interviewed. That's a phenomenal number indeed, Dom.
Thanks a bunch. And I have to say, to answer your question, I have to say, really, the end of 2012 was the time where it really came to life for me because I grew up liking books. And as I got later in high school, in the upper grades, and middle school and high school in the US of A, started to not like books because we would be assigned books to read that would put me to sleep. I remember reading one book and on a Saturday evening in preparation for getting back to school, and I fell asleep in the introduction around page 3. And then I opened the book again. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'm on page 3 again. I guess the three sheep in this case, 3 pages took me out. But 2012 had that wonderful year, but not so wonderful at the time, where it was really a lot of setbacks. I like to call it a setback sandwich because sometimes we have to eat humble pie in life or one of those sandwiches filled with excrement, for lack of a better word, a more appropriate word. And in my case, my setbacks involve having to take care of my father, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's after he went out for a drive and got lost for a day and a half. On top of almost losing a job at a local library where I was working part time at the time while being a full time college student, and getting into a car accident on the day of my 21st birthday when I was on my way to IT security class. And I realized that I had a desire for change and something needed to change. And little did I know that a lot of the solutions to our problems are right within the problem itself. Like the problem is I wanted to get better in life. And books can help you to get better in life. And it's like, hey, well, I'm around books. Let me go to the leadership Lex section of the library, picked up one of John Maxwell's books, thinking for a change, and it helped me to not only think for a change, but advance for a change because it helped me to think about having a positive mindset, reading more books about sales and leadership and psychology, motivation, heck, even biographies from successful people who've created their own version of success in the world. So I have to say, the end of 2012 was really where it finally came back to me. It's like, oh wow, books are awesome. I've been missing out on these types of books for a long time.
Right, right, Dom. Let me ask you things. Nowadays, people talk about mostly online, reading online, and everything else, they think, either in one reason or the other, in terms of convenience, they say we can do things online. In terms of, reading, or that also, many people you see even on emails, they write, do not print this particular email. What about books? How do you see now in this age of artificial intelligence? A lot of people are now asking artificial intelligence to create those books. And rather than looking at real original ideas coming from author's mind, that is the human mind. How do you look at this part? How would you explain the importance of original ideas, original books by original authors, to the people of today? You have done more than 700, interviews of authors. I want to get your perspective for the audience on this.
Sure thing. Well, the thing about AI is that is both a gift and a curse. The thing is, AI is amazing. Chat GPT is great for writing prompts and getting your brain cooking with ideas. But the bad part is that AI is still something, a technology created by humans. In humans, we are inherently flawed. We are not perfect. So thus, whatever we're gonna create, there's gonna be a weakness in that. And there was a news article about, let's say, 2 months ago at the time of this recording, is the fact that in the Washington Times, where it mentioned how ChatGPT got some information wrong about apparently Justin Bieber's song catalog, apparently about some about some top grossing hits. And it's like, yeah, you can't trust an AI. You got this Justin Bieber information wrong. And it's like, okay, they probably could have picked something else, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if it got it wrong, then well, that proves that it's not actually perfect. It's not something that you can really rely on. Plus, there's also another article that went out, and there was a whole list of names of authors who have had their works used to train AI. John Maxwell being one of them, along with Tosca Lee, who appeared on the Going North podcast, with some of her writings being on the list of thousands of authors who were used to train AI. So AI is a great tool, but it's not the end all be all. And you still need to get your message across because at the same time, since AI was created by humans and you're with ChatGPT a long time as just one of the many AI tools that are out there that they're probably going to make even more of in the coming weeks, if not years, is the fact that it's really going to respond to whoever the user is. If a user continuously likes whatever the AI is giving them and they have no good feedback at all, it's like, oh, this is great, keep going. And they keep giving you summaries of things and you don't ask for resources along with what it's finding, and you'd use that information in the book down the road, then that's going to look bad for you. Because also, funny thing is, I discovered yesterday while I was using Amazon KDP for an upcoming book, you had to check a box whether your book has been generated by AI or not. And I'm like, wow, that's actually a good thing. And I didn't even notice that was a thing because a lot of folks may try to regurgitate a bunch of AI and say, hey, I got this magical book here. It took me years, but I finally did it, even though I secretly use AI to generate it like 2 hours. And the thing is, you have to really make sure that your original work is still going to be good. So at the end of the day, AI is great. Yes, it's probably taking a lot of jobs. At the end of the day, you still need that human spirit because the person that's writing their books and putting their stories out there, especially if it's a nonfiction book or a memoir, that's your life, your stories, your energy, your spirit, your experiences that cannot be duplicated exactly as a computer or by someone else. So, AI at the end of the day, it's a blessing and a curse. use it as a tool, and also don't be too frightened about it, because at the end of the day, you're still going to need to put in some work, because you can't just copy and paste your way through your entire life, because life has a funny way of showing you that, hey, your copy and paste will end up being a blank page again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Amazon had to do it because people were uploading, AI books in hundreds of numbers. And finally, so they clamped down on that. Then now, if I understand, you can't upload more than 3 books in one day. So that's the way. Let that be that the way it is. Let's come to your books. In terms, how many books have you written? You have one more book coming on. But before that, I want to understand the name of your podcast. Going North is such a wonderful name. I want to understand what was the meaning behind it. What does going north actually mean, and in relation to authors, especially.
Sure thing. Going North, the name for the podcast came from my first ever book called Going North Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself. And that name originally started off as a joke where one day I was coming in for work and my colleague was asking me, "Hey, Dom, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going north." And a colleague who heard the interactions busted out laughing because it was so cute and silly to her. And that's just the way I am. I like to put a spin on old cliche ideas. It's like you may hear a saying that, you know what, that person's cooler than a cucumber. Well, sometimes they may be cooler than two cucumbers. But that means they're extra cool. Just small things like that to do a small wordplay on old ideas, but also using it as an inspirational piece, because when you look at a map, basically north is going up on the map. You're going up, you're
Absolutely.
going north. And it's all about advancing others and yourself. And one of the best ways to advance in life is by helping enough other people get what they want in life. And one thing that authors desire is publicity, especially for their books, to generate sales and attention to their writing and their works. And hence, going north is all about helping others to advance through the power of the written word, because someone's written word from 20, 30, 50, 500 years ago can still impact you today.
Absolutely. So tell us about a bit about your books. And you have got one. What are those books about? What can who those books are for? What can people learn from those books? And also, you have got one more book coming on, if I understand. The upcoming book, True North, My 21 Tips to Start a Successful Podcast and Expand Your Influence, so that people can also get benefit from that.
Thanks for the question. My books are nonfiction self help books to help you advance in life. First book that was written on a dare, Going North. I was giving these inspirational talks and I was networking with some folks during some break periods in a conference. And one lady dared me to write a book and gave me a year to do it. And at first, I didn't want to do it because I was 22 at the time. And I'm like, I had nothing to write about at face value. And sometimes at first we may think we have nothing, but we may have everything we need. So finished that book in about 11 months back in 2017, October. And that came out that year. That's all about developing a positive mental attitude and advancing in your career, because I've done that. Follow-up book is Stay the Course. That became an Amazon bestseller, known as Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. Long name, I know, but hey, gotta follow your own advice. And that book itself is a follow-up to Going North, where it's all about taking the keys that other performers in their field, top performers use in their fields, to not only get to the top of their game, but to stay at their game, because a lot of folks want to attain success, but sustaining it is another ball game within itself. And I got two other co-author books that I was a part of. The first one, Crappy to Happy: Secret Stories of Transformational Joy. That book is me and about 25 other authors, including James Redfield, the author of the Celestine Prophecy, sharing stories about how we may have had a crappy moment that became a happy moment. And the fourth book slash second multi-author book is the Fourfold Formula for All Things Wellness, and that book is filled with 30 authors, including yours truly, talking about basically how I dealt with grief and using that as a tool for growth. And the fifth and upcoming book that should be out Q1 2024. True North Mike, 21 Tips to Start and Grow a Successful Podcast and Expand Your Influence. That book is basically taking all the advice folks have been asking me about for years on how to start a podcast, putting it in book form for folks to devour. So I'm the guy who's going to give you tools that he's actually used in his own life that he's not putting on Instagram for highlight reels, but putting it in a book form that you can actually use and take to advance in life, and not just the folks who want to pose for social media. So if you want the real deal, then I got you covered on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is so much to learn from you about life, about podcasting, about books. So, for those people who want to learn from you, learn about books, about podcasting, what is the best way for them to connect with you, Dom?
Thanks a bunch, AJ. And for those who want to keep in contact with me, head over to dombrightman.com. That's dombrightman.com. That's where you can subscribe to the Going North podcast and bonus points if you want to sign up for my free gift on that website, which is dombrightman.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.